food cost. Now we're going to look at the labor cost after this. Some cost management ideas, which we have already discussed in the previous slides. I think most of them are already discussed. So the first thing is to analyze food cost for each outlet separately. If you are running multiple outlets in your hotel, more than one outlet, so ideally is to calculate the food cost for each particular outlet and also analyze the revenue for each particular outlet. And then you run the potential food cost report, then check for wastages, and then see the price of imported items, because that can be one of the major factor in your cost on your profitability. The imported items can play a major factor, because some of the restaurants, like especially like Japanese restaurant or Chinese restaurant or Italian restaurant, French restaurants, they are using more of the imported item rather than the local. Asian is no use of imported item. Mostly they use local, but special restaurants, they use most of the imported items, especially for meat, because they cannot get here. Then you do your portion controls, then cost of the food thrown during the stewarding, from especially from the buffet or from the breakfast, from the booked banquet functions. What is the food which is thrown into the stewarding? Normally, this is not. In my experience, nobody watch it, especially the operations. After they run the close the outlet, they leave it to the steward, and steward is whatever they are throwing. They are also not interested in noting down what is the food waste. Is normally poor financial controller. He is going around the garbage area, or the cost controller checking what is the food beverage. In my experience, when I did the rounds in the garbage, I found like the whole um, pot of the steamed rice throwing away like that, just easily. But you can reuse that, right? You can recycle it. But because the staff is careless, they just throw it away, easy. And then also they don't really feel that, oh, every day I'm putting one pot. So if they are reporting and they are recording, if the chef is intelligent enough, he will reduce the production or buy one pot. So he saved the money, right? So, but those are the little tricks that normally are avoided from the operations. In a small restaurant is different, because the chef is the owner himself, so he will not do that. But in a non restaurant, like where the chef is not the owner, he don't care, then you are in deep trouble. So you need to make the chef responsible for the food cost or the cost of food he is preparing. So normally we tie up keep up their compensation with the cost percentage. So we say, okay, if you are going over 20%, you don't get the bonus. If you get less than 20%, you will get the bonus. So the chef is actually maintaining the food cost by himself. So for example, like I used to work in a hotel, small hotel. So there, you don't have a cost controller, you don't have any other chef manager to do the like deep analysis. I don't have a staff to do the more. So what we did is we remove the cost control, but we tell the chef, if your cost is over 20%, you are not going to get the bonus. So poor guy, he is doing the rounds by himself, and he is managing the cost by himself. He is checking the recipe, he is doing the cost control, he is reducing the items. Even though his staff want more food, he cut, because because he knows his own KPI, right? So my headache was reduced because I don't need to manage it anymore. But there are this garbage is actually, if you not been to the garbage area of your hotel yet, I recommend you pay a visit to the garbage area. You may feel surprises. You may find surprises. Even in one of the hotels, the staff can do frauds through the garbage. They can They can pack the meat or the expensive items nicely packed and throw it to the garbage. And after that, after the office, they go back to the garbage and pick it up. So it's easy to steal. So I don't know your staff is doing that or not. But in here in Myanmar, I see mostly people are honest. So they don't dare to do. Not that they don't do it, they cannot do it, but they don't dare to do it. And then the recipe engineering. Of course, you continue to do the recipe engineering by changing the recipe. So if you are keeping an eye on the high cost items of your recipe or the ingredients, You can continue to engineer that by changing the product, changing the ingredients from one to another one. Okay. So this is gonna be our final topic on the labor cost. Okay. Yes. So the labor cost will be on the labor cost is how is the labor cost in your hotel as a percentage to revenue? Does anybody know?
What?
Labor cost as a percentage to revenue. How much money you are spending in labor as a percentage of your revenue? 20%? And you? 1.5. Oh, very. Either you are selling very expensive or you are doing everything by yourself. Very low.
That includes my salary.
Ah, that includes yourself. So that's why. So you are saving quite a lot on the chef.
Not really. I'm saving a lot in terms of management.
So you don't have a chef manager. Or you don't have a manager.
I have a manager, but I don't have a marketing manager. I don't have finance. I don't have operational procurement. That's everything is done by me. So I also take salary from my job, my restaurant.
But if you take your own salary into the consideration, then you have to pay more, right?
Yeah, but still 15%.
Still 15%. Okay. So because you are doing by yourself.
Yeah.
Most of the things.
Most of the things.
Yeah. You have noticed in your hotel?
No. I think it's around there.
Around there. Yeah. So around there, 15 to 20%. If you are having around 15 to 20% is quite reasonably managed, especially for F&B, because you still need to have a lot of chef, lot of service staff, and other. Especially in a standalone restaurant, you need to have because in a normal big hotels, you have separate finance, separate procurement, separate marketing. So the cost of labor for F&B department specific is left only for preparation, service, and steward. But for a standalone restaurant is different. Standalone restaurant, you have to apart from this, you have to have somebody for accounting, procurement, marketing, and other stuff. So if you are not doing it by yourself like him, then you may need to pay maybe 25% or 30% of the revenue as salary itself. Okay, so the labor cost, is it fixed or variable or semi-variable? Depends. How?
The size of the
Size of the hotel also, but largely is fixed, right? Largely is fixed. Some part is variable, but largely is fixed. So what is fixed cost? Fixed cost means the cost which does not change as the revenue in same proportionate as the revenue. Fixed cost doesn't mean that it will not change at all. Fixed cost means it will change, but it doesn't change in the same proportion as your revenue is changing or your business is changing. It will change. Even if you have 10% increase in the cost in your business, you may need to hire one extra person, but that will not be 10% of the top. That will not be 10% increase in the cost. Maybe 1% will increase, but not really the same as the revenue percentage. Variable cost change exactly in the same ratio as your business level change. Semi-variable means is changing but in a step variable. So up to a certain extent it will fix. After that extent it will change. Okay. Then the way to manage the labor is apart from the reducing the salary or not hiring the expensive staff, the most better way of labor cost control or management is manage the productivity of your staff. Get the staff to do the things in efficient manner while conforming to the established standards, right? So first thing is to establish the standards. What are the standard you want them to follow? What are the standard of quality? What are the standard of quantity? What are the standard timings? So those are covered by the productivity. So for each staff will have their own productivity. How many staff I am serving? So the productivity means cost. How many covers are being served by the staff? Can be kitchen staff. It can be the service staff. For the cleaning staff, it may be how many dishes they clean, how fast they clean. for the chef, how many meal they are preparing or how fast they are preparing. So those are the productivity standards. And then you have service standard ratios. So these are the things you are going to analyze in your labor productivity report. So the important thing is, first thing is to establish the standards, what you are supposed them to do, and then you are monitoring their productivity, their how many covers they are serving. But it depends on the your business level. If your business level is changing, the staff productivity will not be affected will not be directly affected by them, because if let's say you are estimating 100 people, so means you are targeting let's say you hire 10 people, targeting 10% per staff, but if you get only 50, the productivity will automatically reduce to half without any fault of the staff. So you need to be able to measure that effectively while you are checking your productivity reports versus the standards. Okay, and then another way of the labor cost control is the zero-based manning. What is zero-based manning? Zero-based manning means that the zero-based budgeting is coming out of zero-based budgeting. So what we do is, zero-based means we are assuming a minimum level of activity. So for every increase in activity, how many staff we need to increase? So we are not actually seeking of, and first thing is to identify the minimum number of activities that we need to do. How many? So what are the different activities? We are, let's say for example, in the case of the restaurant, we need to have somebody who is welcoming the guest. Then you need to have somebody who is escorting the guest. You need to have somebody to serve the guest, clean and cook. Right? There are five, six activities. So first thing is we're gonna assume how many minimum number of guests we are expecting to do the minimum level of staff that we need to maintain in order to run the restaurant effectively. So if let's say you are expecting 10 guests every day, so how many receptionists you need? And who will do the hosting, escorting? So maybe the reception and the escorter are the same. So another thing is to combine the activities. If you can combine the activities without compromising the quality of your service, so then you need to identify those activities first, and then you're gonna do, okay, how many the minimum number of people I need to serve my estimated number of minimum business. And there you can identify, okay, how many servers I need, how many chef I need, how many cleaners I need. Based on that, that is called your zero base. This is now your zero base. So every increase in activity, so every staff increase, every single staff increase in from that zero base need to be justified by increase in the activity, increase in the production. So if you have increase in the production, then you need to then you can justify increase in the staff. But where? If you have, let's say, the instead of 10 you have 15 people, you still may not need a hostess, another hostess. You may need service staff, but do you need any production staff for that? Maybe not, right? So it depends on the level. So not it doesn't mean that I am going to have 50% more guests, so every staff I will increase by 50%. It depends on what activity is going to be increased by that higher business level. So the zero base is actually defining each and every single activity of the business to justify how much staffing I need based on the single activity of the restaurant, of the business, not based on the level of business only. Normally, we don't do the manning based on the zero base or based on the estimate. We just use an estimate. Okay, if I have 100 guests, I will need this much of staff. But maybe you don't have that sort of business every day, right? And then you're gonna manage your higher productivity by variable staff, means your contract or casual staff. So you don't need to have everybody on the permanent. Permanent staff you will have based on maybe on the zero base. And then extra staff you need to maybe can get from the casuals, because it's not very hard to get the casuals or permanent staff, especially for non-skilled level. Okay, and where the automation or equipment can help to reduce or control the cost of operations. even though in Myanmar now the labor cost is still considered as very cheap compared with the other neighboring countries. It's still not that very high. But the government is thinking to increase the minimum wage again. It can be increasing the minimum wage. So means your cost of labor will increase automatically. So now you need to start thinking of the automation and the equipment so that you can rely on the labor manual things. Okay, so that's on the labor cost. Sorry. Okay, so that brings us